Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Lord Brahma said, "My dear Rudra, you have 11 other names: Manu, Manu, Mahinusha, Maha, Shiva, Rutatvaja, Ugrareta, Hava, Kala, Vamadeva, and Rutavrata." Translation. O Rudra, you also have 11 wives called Rudranis, and they are as follows: Thi, Dhriti, Rasala, Uma, Niyut, Sarpi, Ila, Ambika, Iravati, Swada, and Diksha. Translation. My dear boy, you may now accept all the names and places designated for you and your different wives. And since you are now one of the masters of the living entity, you may increase the population on a large scale. Purport. Brahma, as the father of Rudra, selected the wives of his son, his living places, and his names as well. It is natural that one should accept the wife selected by one's father, just as the son accepts the name given by the father, or as he accepts the property offered by the father. That is the general course in increasing the population of the world. On the other hand, the Kumaras did not accept the offering of their father because they were elevated far beyond the business of generating a great number of sons. As the son can refuse the order of the father for higher purposes, so the father can refuse to maintain his sons in increasing population because of higher purposes. The sense of Bhaktivedanta. So in the previous verses, so because of the refusal of Kumaras to accept their father's order, so Brahmaji became very angry. So from his anger, Rudra, a personality was born, who was known as Rudra because he was very anxiously crying, and he was a product of mode of passion and ignorance. So once he is born, then he asks for, please give me a suitable name for me, and where should I live? So Brahmaji has done his Namakarana by naming him as Rudra. You are so anxiously crying, so your name will be Rudra from now onwards. And after the son is born, Namakarana is done, then what next? In general, material life, Shadi, marriage, so it's a father responsibility, so he's getting his son married. So then after giving his name Rudra, so Brahmaji is giving further 11 more names. So here it is not to be confused with the Ekadasha Rudras. Ekadasha Rudras are different. There are 11 different expansions of Shiva. So here it is just a name of another names of a person. One of the expansion of Shiva known as Rudra. He has 11 other names known as Manu, Manu, Mahinasa, Maha, Shiva, Rutadvaja, Ugrareta, Bhava, Kala, Vamadeva, and Rutavrata. So here Brahmaji is clearly saying you have 11 other names, which just different names. It's not to be confused with 11 Rudras or Ekadasha Rudras, which comes, we will discuss from the, after some time we will discuss. Then after he is being given the name, already Brahmaji, in the previous verse, he has given the places of his residence. So he has already given certain places which can be compared to the property. So the father has given him the name, and he has been given him some property where to stay, where to reside. So what are those properties where and all he can reside? So the heart, the senses, air of life, the sky, the air, the fire, water, earth, sun, moon, and austerity. So in all these 11 different places of residence, how the Rudra principle is being explained, that's very elaborately Prabhupada explained the purport. I think it was already Anand Shishra was explained in the last class, that how Rudra principle is predominantly visible in all these 11 places of residences. So then after giving the name, the place of residence, so he has created his wives also, 11 wives. So Rudra had 11 wives. So their names are mentioned here in this verse, that you also have 11 wives called Rudranis, and their names are as follows: Thi, Dhriti, Rasala, Uma, Niyut, Sarpi, Ila, Ambika, Iravati, Swada, and Diksha. So these are the 11 wives Rudra had. So then in the 14th verse which we read together, so it is mentioned that Brahmaji is saying, so now you accept, because you are requested so anxiously, so now you accept all your names and your wives, and as well as the places of residence. So then after this, now you are one of the Prajapatis, you are one of the masters of the living entities, so you should increase the population on a large scale. Because the first attempt has failed, the Kumaras have denied to increase the progeny. So somewhere the living entities have to come to this world. So there has to be some means for the living entities to come to this world and undergo that the process of purification in this world. So he's requesting now you become the means for those living entities to come to this world, and you should create in a large scale. So here, the first line of the Prabhupada mentions that it's natural that one should accept the wife selected by one's father, just as a son accepts the name given by the father, or he accepts the property offered by the mother. So like here in the case, in the Rudra, the Brahmaji did Namkarana. Brahmaji also did his marriage ceremony with 11 different girls. And he already given the places of residence. So when these things are done, it's very natural that the son should accept whatever the girls the father has selected. Basically, this is the Vedic custom. If you just go back to the few decades ago, if you ask, say, our uncles, or maybe little back, further back, if you go, grandfather time, if you ask, so they would never go and see a girl before the marriage. So not only in the case of a girl, whether a boy or girl, they would never see their companion's face before the marriage. They would just go land up on the marriage place on the morning when the Varamala or when the samskara is supposed to happen. That was the first time they are seeing. That time they can neither say no, even if they don't, even if the girl is not beautiful or the boy is not beautiful, they don't have any choice. This was the Vedic custom basically. The people, they didn't have choice. So it was a responsibility of the father and mother to find a suitable bride or groom for a boy or girl. So how do they actually find? So based on different parameters were there. One was the horoscope, Jataka. So they would match the Jataka horoscope of the boy and girl. They would see the compatibility. They would see Gotras. All those things, based on those calculations, they would find a match, and their father will finalize everything. So the bride will go, groom will go, and finally he marries and he comes back. So just like Prabhupada is mentioning, just like a son accepts the name or the property given by the father, similarly he should also accept the wife. So this is the case even for the Mataji's females also. They have to accept whoever the father or mother identified as a suitable groom for them. So in the Vedic history we see many different examples, whether it is Gardamuni Devahuti marriage, or in the Srimad Bhagavatam 9th canto, there is an instance of Chavana Muni and the Sukanya's marriage. So Chavana Muni was a very old person. So but Sukanya was a very young girl. His father was a king. So when they had gone to a forest, some incident happens where they meet Chavana Muni. He was very old, invalid. But father says you should marry this Muni. She will never say even a word. She accepts him and she marries. But after that, because of her chastity, so he undergoes some tapasya, and Ashwini Kumaras come and they give back his youth. So another instance of Srimad Bhagavatam is the pastime between Yayati and Pururava. So Yayati was a king who was too much attached for sense gratification. So then when he becomes old, when he was no longer was able to enjoy sense gratification to his hardcore, what he does is that he requests one of his son to give his youth. So his son Pururava. So other sons actually they denied. What is this, father? What are you asking? You are asking our youth. If you had asked something else, we could have given. But youth is what we will do. You will become old. I will become old. You will become young. But Pururava says no. It's not a custom. If father is asking, he cannot delay as sons. So this is the ordinary course in the moral and ethical principle in this material world, which even Rudras are also following. But Prabhupada, in the next verse, he mentions that, in the next line Prabhupada mentions, on the other hand, the Kumaras did not accept the offering of their father because they were elevated far beyond the business of generating a great number of sons. But there are instances. There is a natural custom. There is something which is set kind of a algorithm in this world. But sometimes a person can go even against those algorithms, against those so-called moral or ethical principles, but only on higher purposes, not for our own sense gratification. If a son says, no, I don't want to marry this girl, I don't like her, I have already selected someone, that's not right. But a son can definitely say, no, I don't want to marry. Why? Because I want to do devotional service. So this refusal also is with a proper reason for what? For higher purposes in life. Sometimes people they give examples. Once recently when I had visited my native place, some discussion started happening like that. Somewhere in the course of the discussion, my brother said something, quarrel between my father and my brother was going on. So then he said, anyway your second son also did not accept what you have said. So then why are you, and you are forcing me to accept? You had certain dreams, certain plans in his mind. So, but actually it has to be understood. So we cannot for our whims, not for our self gratification. It's only for higher purposes. And then second part of the this statement is that they were Kumaras were elevated. Then second part, as the son can refuse the order of the father for higher purposes, so the father can refuse to maintain his sons in increasing population because of higher purposes. Just like how the sons have a right to say no for the father's orders when it comes to higher purposes, similarly, the father also has the right to say no to maintain his sons for higher purposes. Suppose for right purpose, if it is a Lord's desire, if he's trying to take sannyas order, so his wife or his sons cannot demand that who will take care of us. You cannot take sannyas, you cannot just leave us in the mid and you can go like this. But if it is for a higher purpose, even father also is authorized. He can also refuse to maintain his sons in increasing the population. Another understanding to this statement is that just like how Brahma also, now in this verse we are seeing that he is asking Rudra, now you increase the population on a large scale. But what happens further, few more verses when we read, we'll get to know that Rudra started creating all kinds of nonsense living entities. Those who didn't know what to do, they were running here and there. They started even running behind Brahmaji. So when they started devastating stuff, increasing the population, they started creating devastation. So then Brahma becomes disgusted. Then he tells Rudra, no, please stop progeny now. You don't do anything. Please undergo some tapasya for some time. Instead of helping me, you are actually disturbing my activity. That's what here Prabhupada mentioned here. That father can refuse to maintain his sons in increasing the population because of higher purposes. So Brahmaji had different plans because Brahma didn't want those kind of disturbing creatures in this world. He wanted some good progeny first, and then of course, it's because all kinds of living entities have to take birth in this world. One cannot just avoid that you want only good progeny. But he's saying, at this point of time, please don't do it. Please hold on for some time. So there is one nice pastime. So there is one devotee in the Madhvacharya Sampradaya. So Madhvacharya was a sannyasi. So Madhvacharya established 8 different mutts. So he had 8 principal sannyas disciples. So he entrusted each of them with each mutt. And each mutt had one worshipable deity. One mutt had Narasimha, Vamana, Krishna, or different Vishnu incarnations as the predominating deities of each mutt. So one mutt had Mula Rama. Mula Rama means the self-manifested deity of Lord Rama. So Lord Rama is manifested in the form of deity during Treta Yuga, and the deity worship was coming down in Parampara through different acharyas. So out of the 8 mattas, one of the matt had the Mula Rama deity, the original self-manifested deity of Lord Rama. So in all of these 8 matts, the condition is that only the sannyasis can worship the Lord. Even today, if you go to Udupi Math, only the main sannyasis allowed to worship the deity, touch the deity, bathing him. No others can touch actually. So that is the kind of a strict rules which Madhvacharya has said, so that sannyasis are fully engaged in the service of the Lord. They don't have any leisure time. Once in the Bhakti Shastri course, I guess, His Holiness Hare Krishna Maharaj was explaining how a life of sannyasi would be much closer. They have to chant 1,000 times in a day, 1,000 times Gayatri, 1,000 times Vishnu Sahasranama, and they have to, the principal deity has to be worshipped by only sannyasis. They only have to cook and offer bhoga to the deity. This kind of some frame, rules and regulations is framed by Madhvacharya, so that the person who is taking sannyasa order is fully engaged in patan, patan, yajam, yajan. No other activity, and if there are no other activities, if there are no other material activity, then the chances of falling down is very, very less. So this was the strict rules which Madhvacharya said. So in one of the ashramats where the Mula Rama deity was there, so that sannyasi was worshipping, it was coming in parampara. He had become almost very old, not able to properly take care of the deity. But now he cannot entrust the deity worship to anyone else. It's a rule set by Madhvacharya. No one can actually break that rule. So then he wanted to appoint his successor. Successor also has to be a sannyasi. So he had his one disciple. So his Purvashrama name was, I think, Venkatapata. His Purvashrama name, I'm not exactly sure. His Purvashrama name is before taking initiation, sannyas diksha. But he was a married man. He had a young wife and about 7-8-year-old son. So it was a happy family, but religious family. They were going to the mutt every day, attending the discourses by the sannyasi guru, and they are helping him in worshipping the deity. They may not be able to worship, but they are helping, just like how we have assistant pujari, assistant cook services like that. So then when this was going on, one day the guru, the sannyasi, he expresses desire in front of Venkatapata that I want you to take care, I am becoming very old and invalid. So I want you to take care of the worship of this Mula Rama deity, the self-manifest deity of Lord Rama. It's a great opportunity. Who will get that opportunity of worshipping that original self-manifest deity of Lord Rama? He became happy, but at the same time he was taken aback. Why? Because if he has to worship means he has to take sannyas. So he has to take sannyas means he has to give up his family life, his wife, son. Who will take care of them? The moment the guru proposes this, actually he just escaped from the ashram, he goes to the home and he explains this in front of his wife. Wife tells, oh, good that you have just ran away and come back to the home. Otherwise, I don't know what would have happened in the ashram. So see, I'm telling you, in case if you accept your guru's proposal and if you take sannyasa, I'm not going to leave. Who will take care of our young son? And I'm going to commit suicide. Please don't think that I will be behind you, remembering you, taking care of the son. No, I cannot live without you. I'm going to commit suicide. So very seriously she tells this. Then that was even more harsh for him. It was very painful. So he decides that okay, I should not take sannyas. But Guru was not leaving blessings from the Lord's will. So he was pursuing. So to escape from this everyday kind of a trauma, what he does is that he moves from that village to some other village with his wife and son. He migrates, goes to some other place, so that every day he need not have to meet Guru, just to escape that kind of a trauma which is undergoing. So once after going there, so they were living there. But as I said, when it is Lord's will, who can stop? So the Guru started coming in his dreams. Every day in his dreams and tell, please come, please come, please come. Don't lose this opportunity. The Lord has selected you personally for His service. Who else will get that great opportunity? But he was very afraid. The moment he wakes up from comes out of the tree, he will be very afraid. No, I cannot do this. What will happen to my life? So one fine day, what happens? For his morning Sadhya Vandana, in the morning's Brahma Muhurta time, he was going to river. Generally, that time people used to go for their Nitya Karmas to the river only. So he was going, he saw that on a tree, there was one nest. So mother bird would go, fly away, bring some grains, and the baby birds, they will be, with their mouth open, they will be waiting for the food. So it will bring some grains, some inside. So it will put it in their mouth and they will eat. So he saw that two such baby birds and mother bird, they were living happily with their nest. So when he was coming back, it was in the summer time. It was almost in the afternoon because he did some pujas and all those things, Sandhya Vandana and all. It was almost in the almost 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. It was very sunny. So when he was coming back, he saw that maybe because sometimes because of wind or maybe because of the attack of some other animals, the nest had fallen down. So the two baby birds, they are on the sand, on the shore of a river. You can find only sand. Sand, especially when in the summer it becomes very hot. So those baby birds are fallen on the sand, and because of the heat, they are actually trying to escape from that, but not able to because their wings are not sufficiently developed. So mother bird is not coming near because enemy has attacked. So mother bird is afraid because enemy may come and catch mother bird also. So birds also have their own defense methodology, defending methodology. It was not coming. But what this Venkatapata saw was that they were struggling what to do. Then he was thinking, what will happen to these birds? He went back to the home. Anyway, he thought, what can I do? These are all destiny. Evening for Sandhya Vandana, when he came back, the bird's condition is still the same. Baby birds are still struggling. Probably mother would have not come and fed. They were hungry also. They were opening their mouth and waiting. Then after some time, he sees that some of the baby birds, they developed some courage, situated themselves comfortably. It became evening, so there was no much heat. So then, next to that tree, there were so many ants which were roaming around. Ants and other small birds. So this baby bird started plucking those ants, started eating. So 2-3 days passed by. It was sustaining both the birds were sustaining on those kind of other animals, other small insects available nearby, and they even started learn flying also. So from this incident, he realizes that in this material world, actually every living entity has come with his own baggage. Sukha dukkha. What sukha he has to enjoy, what dukkha he has to enjoy, it's already destined. If we think, like Prahlad Maharaj says, that if a person thinks that his family members, his great patronage, his education will save him, a doctor will save him, no, nothing can save if the Supreme Lord is not willing to save him. Similarly, he sees that actually it is the Lord's will. Lord has already made arrangement for every living entities for their food, their how long they have to live, their defense mechanism, everything the Lord has made when the living entity is created. Then why should I worry for my family? If it is an ordinary course, if it is for a general grahastha life, I cannot leave my wife and go and marry someone else. That's unethical. But if it is for a higher purpose, then definitely I can do. Because I know the Supreme Lord is the ultimate, the supreme maintainer. So then, immediately from that place only, he decides that I should take sannyas. Without informing anyone, he goes to the Guru. Guru gives sannyas diksha. He becomes sannyasi, starts worshipping. So now, back home, what happens? The wife had already said, I am not going to leave. Don't think that I'll leave. I'll stay behind. Stay back at the house and take care of your son. Nothing will happen. So out of that desperation, out of that separation, she goes and commits suicide. She dies. Now, son, what will happen? So some relatives, when they came to know about this incident, they took away the son and they nicely started taking care of this. So this means that actually, like here Prabhupada mentions, the father can refuse to maintain his sons in increasing population because of higher purposes. So when it comes to higher purpose means what? Whenever it is a Lord's will, or whenever it's a pure devotee's will, it will definitely become, it will be sanctioned. It will become true. So in only those cases, a person can actually refrain or withdraw himself from those responsibilities, not for our own self-gratification. So here in the case, Rudras. So now, coming back to this subject matter. So many times we think that Rudra is a son of Brahma, but Brahma is considered among the three kinds of living entities. Those who are the pure devotees, those who are in the internal potency, those who are in external potency, some are in the marginal potency. Lots of energies, right? Living entities are also categorized. So Brahma is categorized among the living entities as the inferior energy of the Lord. But whereas Rudra or Shiva is considered as higher than Brahma with respect to, because Brahma is a living entity, but Rudra is not a just ordinary living entity, or Shiva is not an ordinary living entity. He is neither Vishnu Tattva nor Jiva Tattva. Brahma is a Jiva Tattva, but Shiva is not neither Jiva Tattva nor Vishnu Tattva. He is somewhere in between, but he has his own special position. Then how can he become son of Brahma? So Prabhupada in one Bhagavatam class, Prabhupada mentions that what is the position of Shiva. Prabhupada gives an example, just like Lord Krishna takes birth as the son of Mother Devaki and Vasudeva. That does not mean that Devaki and Vasudeva's position is greater than Krishna. See, their position is greater in that way, they are the great devotees. But ultimately, when it compared to Krishna, Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead and Devaki and Vasudeva are his devotees as living entities. They did that tapasya, they acquired such punya wherein they could get the Supreme Lord as their son. So, Rudra, the principle, the Shiva Tattva, just like Vishnu Tattva is there, there is something known as Shiva Tattva. So, there is a difference between Shiva, Sadashiva, and Rudras. So, what is that Shiva Tattva? So, Prabhupada basically about this, why many people they will not be able to understand all these things, because it's not anywhere else it is mentioned. Shastra says there are only two literatures which mentions about different expansions of Shiva, just like Vishnu. Generally, when we hear Vishnu, we know Vishnu the supreme personality of Godhead, but Vishnu has so many expansions. Correct, right? From Krishna comes Balram, from Balram comes Sankarshana, from Sankarshana comes first quadruple expansions. From that first quadruple expansion, Sankarshana, second quadruple expansion comes. From them come Mahavishnu. From them come, further Vishnu. So we know only Vishnu, but among Vishnus also, there are so many different expansions. Mahavishnu, Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, and Arbodakashayi Vishnu. There are so many different varieties in the expansions of. Similarly, Shiva also has his own expansions. Shiva Tattva, like Vishnu Tattva, Shiva Tattva also exists, and that is described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. There are only two literatures which talk about this Shiva Tattva. One is Vayu Purana, not even in Shiva Purana, it's there only in Vayu Purana among the Puranas, and in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami summarizes about what is actually Shiva Tattva. So Shiva Tattva, basically in principle we can understand that there are three types of Shiva and his expansion. The first Shiva, the original Shiva is Sadashiva. So what is Sadashiva's position, which Chaitanya Charitamrita explains, that the full-fledged Vishnu Tattva known as Sadashiva exists in Vaikuntha Loka. He exists in Vaikuntha. He's a basically full-fledged Vishnu Tattva. He's not even Shiva Tattva. Shiva Tattva comes after him. So he's a Vishnu Tattva and he's known as Sadashiva and he resides in Vaikuntha Loka. So basically, why Chaitanya Charitamrita explains this in context to Advaita Acharya's birth. Advaita Acharya is a combined incarnation or expansion of Mahavishnu and Sadashiva. So in context of this, Chaitanya Charitamrita describes about the Sadashiva. Then Vishnu Tattva Sadashiva is the material cause of the world. The material cause of the world is Vishnu Tattva Sadashiva. Just like how Mahavishnu is the efficient cause. Efficient cause means the primary cause, who impregnates the Pradhana, then how different universes come out, how living entities are impregnated. That is done by Mahavishnu, but that secondary creation is actually taken care by Vishnu Tattva Sadashiva. So then we will come to the Chaitanya Charitamrita portion. We will elaborately read in purport proper language. Then second one, first one is Vishnu Tattva, who is Vishnu Tattva Sadashiva, who resides in Vaikuntha. Then his second level expansion is that he is in the intermediate sky, somewhere in between Vaikuntha Lokas and this material world. In between, that is known as Kailasha. So he is known as Shambhu or Sadashiva. He is also known as Sadashiva, but his another name is Shambhu. When we say Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu, because the first Sadashiva, he cannot be Vaishnava, because he is a Vishnu expansion, Vishnu Tattva. He is expansion of Sankarshana only. So, but second one, Vaishnavana Meta Shambhu, where the Shambhu word comes, is the second expansion. So, the Shiva known as Shambhu or Sadashiva is an expansion of Vishnu Tattva Sadashiva as mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita. He resides with his consort Maya Devi in Maheshadama, that is Kailash. Kailash is known as Maheshadama. That is situated slightly lower than Vaikuntha Loka, but outside of the mitral world. Outside of the mitral world, we can say between mitral world and Vaikuntha Loka. So then, this Sadashiva, who is the second expansion, he possesses about 85% qualities of Lord Krishna. Whereas the first Vishnu Tattva expansion, that is first Shiva, Sadashiva, he possesses 93% of the qualities of Krishna. Then, this Sadashiva is also not the directly who performs destruction, or who performs pradaya, Tandavam Nritya and Aarti. This is not that Shiva. Then, who performs that destruction? That is the third expansion, that is known as Rudra. That's what we are hearing in this verse. The personality was born from between the two eyebrows of Lord Brahma out of anger as a combination of passion and ignorance. He is known as Rudra. Rudra, and that is from basically is the third expansion. So along with Rudra, there are 11 other expansions as well. Here, what is mentioned is 11 different names. But he also has 11 expansions. They are known as Ekadasha Rudras, 11 Rudras, which popularly many people, generally we get to hear, 11 Rudras. So, those 11 Rudra names are, that's also mentioned in Maya Purana, Ajaikapat, Abhipratna, Virupaksha, Raivata, Hara, Bahurupa, Devasreshta, Trayambaka, Savitra, Jayanta, Pinaka, and Aparajita. These are the 11 different Rudras. So then, this expansion of Shiva is actually involved in destruction of this creation. So when it comes to destruction, that's why Brahma is saying that instead of creating, actually you are destructing. You are creating all disturbance to this society. So please don't create now. Please stop. So Chaitanya Charitamrita, we'll come to the Chaitanya Charitamrita portion where Prabhupada elaborately mentions about the position of Lord Shiva. So Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, 6th chapter, 79th verse. This chapter name is Glories of Advaita Acharya. So in context of Advaita Acharya, it's mentioned Ananta Brahmande Rudra Sada Shivera Amsha Gunavatara Tenho Sarva Deva Avatamsha. Rudra is an expansion of Sadashiva. Rudra is an expansion of Sadashiva, just like this Shiva, this Rudra we are discussing. And who appears in unlimited universes is also a Gunavatara, qualitative incarnation. When it comes to three Gunavataras, that Gunavatara is actually this Rudra, who is responsible for the destruction of this entire mental creation. Qualitative incarnation, and is the ornament of all the demigods in the endless universes. So let us read this purport, which covers many points regarding this Shiva Tattva. There are 11 expansions of Rudra or Lord Shiva. They are as follows, the names which I read. Besides this expansion, there are 8 forms of Rudra called earth, water, fire, air, sky, the sun, moon, and Somayaji. What the places of residence which Brahmaji has given. So that's mentioned here. Generally, all these Rudras have 5 faces, 3 eyes, and 10 arms. Sometimes it is found that Rudra is compared to Brahma and considered a living entity. But when Rudra is explained to be partial expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is compared to Shesha, that means Ananta Shesha, because it's an expansion, that Sadashiva is an expansion of Ananta Shesha. Lord Shiva is therefore simultaneously an expansion of Lord Vishnu, and in his capacity for annihilating the creation, one of the living entities. In the capacity of capacity for annihilating creation as one of the living entities is known as expansion of Lord Vishnu, that means Vishnu Tattva. As an expansion of Lord Vishnu is called Hara and is transcendental to the material qualities. Is transcendental, is not a person who comes under the influence of all the 3 modes of material nature. He is transcendental to those. But when he is in touch with Tamoguna, he appears contaminated by the material modes of nature. This is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam and Brahma Samhita. So Brahma Samhita, the famous verse, Kshiram Yati Dada Vikhara Vishesha Yoga Sanchayate Nahitata Putakasti Heto Yesh Shamputam Abhitata Samupaiti Karya Govindamadi Purushantamah Bhajami. That explanation comes now. 10th canto, in the Bhagavatam 10th canto, it is stated that Lord Rudra is always associated with material nature when she is in the neutral, unmanifested stage. Very important statement. Rudra, like we hear a statement, no? Once Mother Parvati asked that your devotees are so so ardent devotees you have, so hardcore devotees you have. They are ready to chop off their head, they are ready to chop off their arms for you, they are ready to give their life to you, but you are not at all concerned. You are always in meditation. On whom do you meditate? Why are you meditating? What was Lord Shiva's answer? He says that I am meditating on Lord, my worshipable Lord, and I am meditating because to stay away from Maya, so that Maya should not attack me. Because you are always near me, so you should not influence me. That's why I'm always engaged in meditation. That supportive statement is here in this Bhagavatam statement. Lord Rudra is always associated with the mental nature when she is in the neutral, unmanifested stage. But when the modes of mental nature are agitated, when she becomes active, he associates with mental nature from a distance. He is engaged, he is associated with the mental nature only when it is in an unmanifested form, when it is not activated. But when the mental nature, the Durga becomes activated, then he associates with mental nature from a distance. Then Brahma Samhita, the relationship between Vishnu and Shiva is compared to that of between milk and yogurt. Milk is converted into yogurt by certain additives, but although the milk and yogurt have the same ingredients, there are different functions. So milk is like, milk is Vishnu, curd is Shiva. So we can say the curd, is it milk? Yes, it's also milk because it has come from milk. But does it possess the same qualities? No. It has its different function. But it is related to milk as well as it is different from milk. So that is the special quality of Shiva. Lord Shiva is an expansion of Lord Vishnu, yet because of his taking part in the annihilation of the cosmic manifestation, he is considered to be changed, like milk converted into yogurt. In the Puranas, it is found that Shiva appears sometimes from the heads of Brahma and sometimes from the heads of Vishnu. So what we have in information is that he is generated from the head of Brahma. But other Purana, like Vayu Purana says, sometimes he is from Brahma, sometimes he is generated from Vishnu. The annihilator, Rudra, is born from Sankarshana and the ultimate fire to burn the whole creation. In the Vayu Purana, I mentioned, there are only two literatures where the Shiva Tattva is elaborately described, the three different varieties of expansions. That's one is Vayu Purana, another is Chaitanya Charitamrita. In the Vayu Purana, there is a description of Sadashiva in one of the Vaikuntha planets. That Sadashiva is a direct expansion of Lord Krishna's form for past times. It is said that Sadashiva, Prabhupada mentions in bracket Lord Shambhu, is an expansion from the Sadashiva in the Vaikuntha planets, and that is concerned, Mahamaya is an expansion of Rama Devi or Lakshmi. Mahamaya is the original birthplace of material nature. So that Sadashiva has his wife known as Mahamaya. So that Mahamaya is an expansion of Lakshmi ji, the goddess of fortune. So in that way, both Sadashiva and his consort are basically Vishnu and Lakshmi expansions. So, but for the purpose of to maintain this material world, further they come down as Shambhu and Parvati, and then further as Rudra and many Rudranis mentioned in this verse. So this is actually basically Shiva Tattva. So that Prabhupada in one of the purport mentions that the Shiva basically he's a great devotee of the Lord. He's not, even though he's engaged in destruction, he's so engaged in all these kind of disturbances activities, but still he's a great devotee of the Lord. He's doing his service. And that Shiva has his own parampara known as Rudra Sampradaya. So Rudra Prabhupada mentions Rudra Sampradaya in the current age, it's also known as Vallabha Sampradaya. Just like how Brahma Sampradaya in the current link is known as Gaudiya Sampradaya. Similarly, Rudra Sampradaya in the current link is known as Vallabha Sampradaya from Vallabhacharya. So with this, I'll stop here unless there are any questions or comments. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam. Jai Guru Srila Prabhupada. Jai Guru Prema.